Hello, chess fans. Welcome to another episode of Chess Chat, a program brought to you live from the Rollstone Bank and Trust studios at Fitchburg Access Television. I am George Merijanian, Program Director of the Wachusett Chess Club at Fitchburg State University. This club, the second oldest chess club in Massachusetts, and currently the chess club with the largest weeknight attendance of any chess club in New England, meets every Wednesday evening from 6:30 to 10:30 on the first floor of the McKay Campus Complex on Ridge Road at the university. And with me for this episode of Chess Chat is, once again, our award-winning director, Darren Dame of Fitchburg, who, in 2009, won FATV's prestigious Boulder Award and has been directing Chess Chat since October 2006. And assisting Darren in the control room and also on camera is our longtime Wachusett Chess Club member, Brian Bigelow, a fellow resident of Fitchburg. And sitting across from me is my longtime associate, trusty colleague, a very active tournament player, a chess author, a chess photographer, our chess club statistician at the Wachusett Chess Club, Dave Kuchar of Westminster. Hello, Dave.
Hi, George.
Well, Dave, I understand you've been doing a lot of traveling lately. You actually just came back from the state of Georgia.
Yep.
Now, what were you doing in Georgia? What was happening in Georgia that brought you to the Peach Tree?
Well, I played a chess tournament there.
Oh, you played it?
Yeah.
Okay. So I understand you've been actually playing in a number of states. You've gone to other states and played.
Yeah. So I was initially planning to try to play in all 50 states, but it seems like every time I travel, I tend to get migraines. So
okay.
This is probably going to be the last.
So you were initially wanted to go actually try a shot at the Guinness Book of World Records.
Well, no,
playing in every state.
I wouldn't be the first one, actually.
No, actually, it's done before. But if you did it, you'd be probably be in the new edition of the Guinness Book of World Records. Okay.
That might be a little much, but
okay. Well, anyways.
But we should give a shout out to the Augusta Chess Club. That was very friendly, very welcoming.
A very friendly club.
Yeah.
Now, where does the Augusta Chess Club meet? I mean,
well, this was right outside of Augusta in a town called Evans.
It's outside
Georgia.
of Augusta.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
And you played there, and was there somebody that recognized?
Yes. Somebody actually recognized.
You told me there was somebody that came.
One of my opponents.
One of your opponents.
Yeah.
What did your opponent? You had an opponent who said what to you?
Well, he started saying he thought I looked like someone, and I was about to say I'm not from this area.
Yeah.
So it's probably not. I'm probably not who you think I am. And he said, but he says, do you do a chess show that's on YouTube? And I said, oh yes. And he mentioned. He said, yeah, you do it with an older gentleman. I said, yeah, that would be me.
Oh wow.
So
you mean we actually have viewers in Georgia who watch Chess Chat? I mean, at least this opponent actually recognized you as being on Chess Chat, and of course you are posting on YouTube.
Right.
And of course, our Chess Chat viewers can get our Chess Chat programs actually on live streaming on FATV.
FATV.org.
Yeah,
right?
and in fact, I think most of our viewers are watching us via live streaming. Yeah, but again, we do this program once a month. We've been doing it now again since October 2006.
That's amazing.
And many programs we've been doing. So I'm very happy that somebody recognized you, and that we have somebody at least from the South watching Chess Chat.
Yep.
Well, we have some good news for our Chess Chat viewers, because we did a program a couple of programs ago about our 2014 Wachusett Chess Club champion, Carissa Yip, who won that club championship in 2014 when she was 10 years old.
Right, yep.
Well, she just won a major tournament just a couple of months ago, right before Christmas.
Yep.
It was the North American Junior Championship. It was held in Dulles, Virginia, which is a part of the Washington metropolitan area. And she finished it was a 9-round tournament rated by the World Chess Federation, which is more commonly known by its French acronym FIDE, F-I-D-E, which stands for Fédération Internationale des Échecs, the International Federation of Chess. She played in this FIDE-rated tournament and gained a Grandmaster norm.
That's right, yeah.
Now, a Grandmaster norm is actually based on a favorable result. Her performance was so good
Right.
that they actually gave her what they call a norm.
Yeah.
And in order to get a norm, you have to have at least a performance rating of 2,600, which she did. In this tournament, she had a performance rating of at least 2,600.
Yep.
Yep. Now, if she can do this 2 more times, if she can perform and gain a Grandmaster norm twice,
2 more. Yep.
the World Chess Federation will award her the Grandmaster title. But again, she has to do this.
She has to get the 3 norms.
Yes.
Plus has to have a minimum rating, I think, of 2,500.
Yes, I believe that is what
those are
the criteria.
Those are the criteria.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But she has to do this within. She has to play at least 27 games, rated games, and actually, right. There's a minimum as far as number of games she has to do this. And yeah.
Okay.
And I emailed her just a while ago. I mean, some weeks ago, congratulated her on her victory, and she said her father would be very proud of her if she could do this year. It would be it's going to be very difficult because remember, Carissa is a student.
Yeah.
She's in her second year at Stanford University in California, and getting away from school to play in tournaments is not easy. Now, again, she won last year's. She's a 2-time U.S. Women's Champion. We did a program when she won the U.S. Women's Championship that was held in St. Louis at the St. Louis Chess Club. So it's going to be difficult for her getting time off from school to compete actually in these FIDE-rated tournaments.
Right.
But I think she wants to do it.
I mean, but it doesn't have to be within the year, right? I mean, she would like to, but
no. I mean, she'd love to do it this year, but I think it's very remote that she can accomplish this in 2024.
Yeah.
But again, she's only 20 years old.
Right. Yeah.
And
she's got a lot of time.
She has time to do this.
Yep.
Well, anyways, this tournament that she just won, this North American Junior Championship, she again her loss in this tournament. She didn't lose a game. It was in the first round.
Yeah.
And she lost. It was to a lower rated player, which is a big surprise.
Yeah.
But then she packed up 8 wins in a row to come in clear first.
Yeah.
Now now this tournament was played in 2 sections. They had an open division and a girls division. Well, she didn't play in the girls division.
Right.
No,
Right.
she's going to play where the boys are, the males
The
are.
open, yeah.
Predominantly men. There were other females who played in the open division, but she chose the more challenging section, which is the open section. And again, she came in clear first.
Yep.
And we're very proud and very honored that actually she won this tournament. And you selected a game. Again, she played a lot of long games. You told me that the games she played were lengthy games.
It's a lot of lengthy games.
A lot of lengthy games.
And some of the games were games where she had the advantage early, and they
dragged out.
If we went over, it would be second half would just be boring because it.
Yeah, right. Well, you selected a shorter game, in the low 30s, 30 moves or so, and this was played in round 4, and the fellow and she played a male opponent, and his name was Sharath Radhakrishnan.
Very good.
Was I good on the pronunciation?
I think so.
I was close. I think I was close.
I think you're at least close. Yeah.
And he was a master from Ohio, and they faced each other in the 4th round, and we're going to present this game to our Chess Chat viewers right now.
Okay.
Carissa playing white. How did she open?
I have one question. So this is the junior championship is under 20, right?
Yes, under 20.
So this is like the last time she'll be able to do it, right?
Yes, right. This is her last opportunity, right? Yeah. They allowed her to play. Yeah, right.
Brian's making signs to me. I don't know. I have no idea.
Yeah. No. She won't be able to play this actually when they hold this next year. And it's usually held right before Chris. It was a 4-day tournament.
Okay.
It ended on the 23rd of December. Yeah. So
it was only 4. It must have been 5.
Well, no. They played 9 rounds. They started on the 19th, December 19th. Ended on the 23rd. So they must have played 2.
That's 5 days.
Yeah. So that's 5 days, right? That would be 5 days. So 19th to the 23rd is 5 days.
2 rounds a day. So I think Brian wants us to show the cover.
Oh.
I think.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm remiss. Because you selected. Yes, we should let our Chess Chat viewers know that Carissa was on the cover of the January 2024 issue of Chess Life, which is the official publication of the U.S. Chess Federation.
Yep.
And if Darren could show that photo, we will show there any photo. Actually, there are a number of. Okay, there it is. There is the cover of the January 2024 issue of Chess Life. Now, who is actually standing to her right? Well, that is the current
U.S. champion.
U.S. champion, a multi-time U.S. champion, Fabiano Caruana, and we've done programs on Grandmaster Fabiano Caruana because he played for the World Championship. He played Magnus Carlsen some years ago for the World Championship. But this year, both Fabiano Caruana is the U.S. champion, and Carissa is standing there is for the second time the U.S. Women's Champion, and the U.S. Chess Federation put her and Fabiano on the cover of the January 2024 issue. And there's also a nice article in the February 24 issue of with Carissa with a photo. She has another photo of her inside the magazine with a game. There's a game, an annotated game.
Yeah, I think she might have annotated multiple games.
Yeah,
it was an excellent.
She's an excellent annotator.
Yeah, and she's just a good writer in general.
Very good. She can report on tournaments and write about them for the national magazine.
Yep.
But in this tournament, she played this, as I say, Sharath Radhakrishnan from Ohio. What was her first move against Sharath?
So she started with e4. I think she's always an e4 player, isn't she?
She's an e4 player. She likes e4. Yeah, I'm not aware of any of her playing d4.
Yeah.
Nothing wrong with d4, mind you. Yeah, but she's an e4 player.
I guess we can say most players usually play one or the other, e4 or d4, right?
Although there are some players who play c4.
Right.
Like yourself.
Yeah.
Aren't you a c4 player?
But a lot of players stick to one or the other.
Right.
Although at the highest level, they tend to be able to play all of them because they want to be less predictable.
Right, exactly. It depends on what size repertoire you want to have. Yeah. All right, now her opponent responded with the pawn to e5. All right, so we're going here. So this is what we call in descriptive notation would be a double king-pawn opening.
Yep.
We have two e-pawns, e4, e5.
Yep.
We don't have a name of an opening yet because we have to see what White's next moves or even Black's moves will be. So how did Carissa continue? What was her second move?
Her second move, it's the most common move in this position, knight f3, attacking the pawn on e5.
The first threat of the game?
Yep.
Okay. Now, what we should let our viewers know that Black has options here. I mean, in chess you have alternatives.
Right.
You're not restricted to always play the one recommended move.
Right.
There's many moves that are recommended here.
Right.
Now, our last program, the last program we did was actually about our World Chess Club champion Ray Paulson.
Right.
We presented a game that started out just like this.
Right.
And Ray Paulson, in the game we presented, who had Black, responded with knight f6.
Right. Counterattack.
Counterattack, which is known as the Russian defense or Petrov's defense.
Yep.
But her opponent, Carissa's opponent, did not play the Russian defense.
Right.
Instead, he played the most logical move. Is defend that pawn by developing a piece. Plays the knight to c6. So this is probably the most commonly played move. Is just develop the piece and defend. Okay, Carissa's third move. What does she do?
So she plays bishop to b5.
Okay.
So she's attacking the defender of the pawn.
Right. Now, do we have yet a name of this opening? The beginning of the game is called an opening. Do we have a name now that we can attach to this? The first three moves of the game. Has it been established what opening we're now playing?
So in this country we call it the Ruy Lopez.
Ruy Lopez, Ruy Lopez. Now Ruy Lopez was a 16th century Spanish priest. It was Ruy Lopez. In Spanish, it's Ruy Lopez. Ruy Lopez de Segura, but we would know him as Ruy Lopez de Segura, and he actually wrote a book that is in Spanish in 1561. Can you imagine this? A book in Spanish on chess, and he wrote it in response to a book written in I believe it's 1501.
Really?
1501. By a fellow, a master, or well, not a master, but a strong player named Damiano. Now, Damiano wrote the first book that was published in Italy. It was published in Rome, Italy in 1501. Can you imagine 1501, a chess book?
Is that the first?
The first, well, it was the first chess book published in Italy.
Okay.
Now, I don't know what the first, no, that was not the first book. There was even something written before 1501.
Okay.
And there was manuscripts from the 1400s. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. But Damiano, who I don't believe was Italian, although he submitted his book, he wrote it, the manuscript is actually in Italian, because you know the Italians dominated chess back in the 15th century, 16th century. They were the dominant players,
Okay.
and of course it moved from Italy over to Spain, then up to France, over to Germany, up to England. But Italy was the major chess-playing country back in the 16th century. Yeah.
Okay.
But Damiano was actually lived in southwest Portugal, so I believe he was Portuguese. Yeah.
Okay.
But he knew Italian, so
Okay.
he wrote it in Italian. But getting back to Ruy Lopez wrote a response. He studied Damiano's book, and he wanted to refute what Damiano said about various openings. And what Ruy Lopez said, he considered knight c6 on the second move a mistake. He said, that's not a good, that's inferior. He said, a better move in response to the knight f3 on the second move, right, is to play something like d6, not c6, because he says the response to knight c6 as black is to play bishop
here.
And that's why his name was attached to this opening. And most of the English-speaking countries, when I learned chess, I knew this as the Ruy Lopez opening. Most of the world know this as the Spanish opening, after the Spanish priest Ruy Lopez de Segura. All right, so here is what Black did in the response. Now, Black actually in the response could just continue with development, playing the knight out to f6, and we've seen that we play games.
And nowadays, that's become actually very common.
This is a very common, popular move known as the Berlin defense.
Yep.
Okay. Another possibility, you know, there's actually an English player named Bird, Henry Bird, from the I think the 19th century. He used to move the knight again.
Really?
He brought the knight to d4.
Okay.
And again, it's attacking this bishop here.
Right.
It's offering the exchange here. This is also a possibility. But let's get back to the actual game.
Yep.
What Black actually played was put the question to the bishop, attack the bishop, a6.
Yep.
And by the way, the great American chess player Paul Morphy recommended this.
Right.
Paul Morphy, who lived in the 1800s, he said, this is what you want to do.
So sometimes that's called the Morphy
Yes,
defense,
the Morphy
right?
defense.
Yeah.
Paul Morphy said, this is what you want to do.
Yep.
You want to actually find out what is White's intention here.
Right.
Why is that bishop going to b5 to get rid of my knight?
Right.
I want to know right now.
Yep.
So that's what Black did here. Now, what did Carissa do? Did she take the knight? Let's show our viewers. Let's show our viewers why. And by the way, you pointed out to me that Bobby Fischer, in his later years, did play.
Right.
Bishop takes knight.
It's a reasonable thing to do.
Right. Okay.
But we should point out that.
Okay, and on the recapture, and we want to recapture this way, so we can open up the diagonal for the white square bishop.
Right.
Let's point out to our viewers that for this, if White thinks
it looks like White's going to win a pawn.
But that's misleading.
But that's not correct.
That's not correct.
Right.
Because how does Black respond to White's win of the pawn on e5?
Queen.
The queen
here.
now would just simply go to d4, and now the queen is attacking both the knight and the pawn.
Right.
And the knight, to save itself, has to either have to retreat, go back to f3, or may possibly be defended with f4. But here's what's going to happen. Let's say, for example, the knight goes back, attacks the queen.
Right.
We just simply take queen takes on e4 check, and now White has only two choices. We either move the king to f1, which forfeits castling, or we play queen to e2, which also would forfeit castling.
Because they exchange. So that's not a good.
Nothing is gained by thinking you're winning a pawn because you don't win a pawn.
Right.
All right, so in this position.
So right there.
All right, so what Carissa did not take the knight.
Just retreats.
She just retreats the knight to bishop a4. Okay. All right, so here is where Black now plays knight f6 on the fourth move. attacking the pawn.
And developing the knight, yeah.
The knight attacks the pawn. And now Carissa, now a lot of players, beginners, would say, wait a minute, I got my pawn's on attack.
Attacked, I should defend
I would
it.
have to defend it.
Right.
But here's a case where white does not have to defend that pawn, because let's show our viewers what would happen if black says, hey, am I not winning a pawn?
Right, so
let's show that.
if black takes,
Black takes.
then white just
Yes,
plays the
look
rook
at
over.
here. The rook comes, attacks the knight. There's only two ways to handle this. We either retreat the knight.
Yeah.
If we retreat the knight back to where we came from.
Now there's two attackers on the pawn.
Now we're gonna gain the pawn. Yeah, like this. Oh yeah. And now there's nasty threats with the discovered check, which could possibly lose the queen.
Yep. Yep.
So this not gain anything. Okay, so we'll put the pawn back here. All right. So nothing is gained, although it's playable.
Yeah.
It is playable. It's called the open variation of the Ruy Lopez opening. All right. But here is actually in response to castling. Black plays b5 and attacks the bishop on a4.
Right.
And white only has one move to save itself.
Right.
Save himself.
So Carissa plays bishop to b3.
Carissa plays back to b3. All right, so black now continues with the development of pieces, brings the bishop out to c5, puts it on this square, where it's actually on this nice diagonal against this, bearing down on this f2 pawn.
Yep.
Okay, it is now Carissa's move, her seventh move. What does she do?
So d3.
Okay, now
Opens
she does
up the line for the bishop.
Right.
And defends the pawn.
Protects the pawn. Very good move. Okay. Well, black now could castle here.
Sure.
Yeah, could.
Yep.
But he said, wait a minute. I'll play my pawn to d6 so I can open up my bishop, the diagonal for my light square bishop to come up. Possibly to come here to g4 to pin the knight. Okay. Carissa's move, Carissa's eighth move, what does she do?
a4.
Okay.
Oops.
So a4 now attacks the pawn. By the way, wait a minute. Is there a threat? Actually, by Carissa playing a4, does she have a threat here?
She does, because if she were to take here,
Yes.
now black can't recapture.
Black cannot take back with the pawn because black would lose
the rook.
His rook. Right.
So we say it's pinned.
It's pinned.
Right.
So Carissa actually has a threat here.
Yep.
All right, so how does black here handle this threat? Okay. Well, the way black handles that threat is simply by playing bishop to b7, and now this bishop is protecting this rook.
Right.
Yeah. So now doesn't have to fear any exchange of pawns here.
Yep.
So that's the way the black handled that. Okay. It is now Carissa's ninth move. What does she do?
So she plays c3, which is a very common move in this opening. So it's preparing to push the pawn to d4.
All right. So there. Yeah. All right. So what does black do here after c3? Well, black says it's time for me to castle.
Right.
They put my king in a safe position. Okay. All right. Now Carissa's 10th move. What does she do now? What does she do in this position?
So I think this is we're still dealing with book moves. These are standard moves. She develops her knight to a3.
Right.
So I guess she's got possibilities now of bringing the knight to c2, or if things open up,
right,
she can put it on c4.
All right. Okay. So black's move after knight a3. Well, black evidently does not like the possibility of white coming with that bishop to g5 and pinning that knight.
Right.
So black plays h6, which keeps out any enemy piece, especially the bishop, pinning the knight, and plays h6. Okay, it's now Carissa's 11th move. What does she do?
She develops her bishop to d2.
Okay. Well, now I have to ask the question, by playing bishop to d2, does Carissa now have a threat? Is there a threat now?
Yes, so now she's got two attackers here. And previously she couldn't take back with the knight because she would have lost the rook.
Yeah, because nothing was protecting that rook.
Now the queen's protecting it.
Yes.
So now there's a threat to win that pawn.
So there's a double attack on the pawn on b5.
Yep.
So Carissa's now threatening to win that pawn.
Yep.
So how does black respond to that threat after bishop d2? Well, decides he will take.
Right.
So the b pawn takes on a4. So there's a capture there.
Yep.
And of course, there's only
And Carissa
One
takes
move,
back.
Take back, bishop a4. Okay. All right, so it is now black's 12th move. And black says, you know what, maybe I want to hold on to this knight. I mean, this bishop is attacking the knight. Maybe she wants to take it up, but maybe she doesn't. But I don't want to even give her the opportunity of taking my knight, bishop for knight. I'm going to redeploy this knight and play the knight to e7. So black plays the knight over to e7. Okay.
So we would tend to characterize this sort of position as a positional battle, right? Whoops.
This is positional chess.
You just lost your microphone.
Oh, I did?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Oh, wow. I don't want to. Okay, sorry. So anyway, getting back. Oops, did I do this right? Okay, bear with me. We're having, I'm having technical difficulties myself. Okay, I'll get back soon. That's what I get for when I reach over so much. Okay, so anyways, you're absolutely right.
So instead of we've presented a lot of tactical battles in the past where there's all kinds of threats and.
This is what I would call a cat and mouse game. Mm-hmm. A cat and mouse game is where neither player is really undertaking any attacks. There's no attack on the castle king, but I should say monkeying around. I shouldn't say monkeying around. They're jockeying around for position.
Right.
They're jockeying around for position.
Trying to find better pieces, better squares for their pieces.
And they're waiting for the mistakes to be made.
Right.
Yeah, that's one thing when you as a positional player, when you jockey around looking to improve your position, you're waiting for the mistakes.
Yeah, you have to be aware, right?
You have to be aware if a mistake is made, you want to be able to pounce on that mistake. All right. So whose move is it now in this position?
Now it's Carissa's 13th move.
Yes, her
like
move.
We said, she puts, since this square is now available,
right?
She puts the knight there on c4.
All right, so knight c4. All right, so now, black must realize, wait a minute, this bishop that I put on b7 to protect the rook, to save the rook, this bishop is biting on granite here. But that pawn on e4 is defended by the pawn on d3. Yep. Nothing is gained by keeping this bishop on this diagonal.
Right.
So black decides, hey, I got to redeploy this bishop to a better diagonal.
Yep.
So he plays the bishop c8. Yep. Okay. All right. So now it's Carissa's 14th move.
Yep.
What is she doing in this position?
And in the same vein, she decides she wants her bishop on this diagonal here. I think just
right.
Exactly. Because now. I think she's threatening to push d4, and she can do so because this pawn is now guarded.
Right, exactly. Right. And by the way, we have what we call a strong point. Black has a strong point on e5, keeping that as block. Keeping this here blocks the advance of this e pawn. If that pawn actually, if this were not here, this pawn would be able to move up. And actually increases
the line for the bishop,
the possibilities to have a future for that bishop to do things.
Yep.
All right, so the bishop, she played bishop c2. And here is where black now plays the bishop to e6, attacks the knight on c4.
Right.
And there is the possibility of that bishop taking that knight on c4, which would double the pawns on the c5.
So it would look like this, which is pretty ugly.
Right. It is rather ugly having double pawns like this. Yeah. Maybe white would not like to have that.
Yeah. So.
All right. So Carissa says, "Hey, I'm not going to even allow that possibility.
Right.
I'm going to redeploy the knight to e3, which he did on her 15th move." And of course, black now says, "Okay, well, I got to swing." The action is switching over to the king side here, and he brings this knight, which he had redeployed from c6, and now going over to g6. Yep. Knight goes to g6, so he's on a better square, a better redeployment. Okay, it is now Carissa's 16th move. What does she do in this position?
So she does play d4.
Yes, she does that now. Okay. So now we should point out to our viewers that black wisely does not take this pawn here, because if the pawn were to be taken like this, then this would allow this pawn, say,
right.
But the idea the bishop would have to retreat, and there's only one. Yeah, right. There's only one square. Yeah, it can't go here because the bishop controls that.
Right.
Can't go here, the a7, because the rook would win this pawn would be lost.
Right.
So, but the main thing, it would now actually make this diagonal on b1.
She could push e5, and
Yes.
now both of these bishops are bearing down on the
Yes,
king side.
that could be very dangerous.
So
that's why in this position, right.
That's right. So black doesn't do
All right,
that.
so black wisely said, okay, I cannot take that pawn on d4 with my pawn. I got to retreat. And the only square that black has here is to play the bishop to b6.
Right.
And that's what black does on the 16th move. All right, Carissa's 17th move. What is she doing?
So she, you could say, develops the rook to e1.
Yeah, because
so,
it has no
so that when this opens up.
Oh yes, because it has no future in f1.
Right.
It's in a defense. It's in defensive position, but there's no need to have it on f1.
Right.
If we want to make it more active. All right. Here is where now black decides. Now I really think this is a mistake. If I were black, I would not be doing this.
Right.
Black decides to take the pawn on d4 with the e pawn. E takes d. It was better just to maintain that pawn on the e5.
It seems like it.
As a strong point,
Yeah.
as a blocker also. Yeah. So, but he takes. E takes d4.
Yeah.
Okay. Now there are two ways to take back here, are there not?
Yeah.
We can take back with the pawn. C takes d4, or we can take back with the knight. Knight takes d4.
Yeah.
Now, what did the Carissa choose?
She chose to take with the knight. I mean, each one has its advantages and disadvantages.
Right. So knight takes d4 was her 18th move.
Knight takes d4. I mean, one thing is she's attacking his bishop.
So that's probably why she did it, because she has a threat, possibly just simply taking this, which would force the pawn on f7 to take back. But this would render the king side castle position weaker.
Yeah.
As a result.
Right.
So she took with the knight, attacks the bishop on e6, and he must realize, no, I cannot allow that knight to take that bishop, and my recapture would just weaken my castle position.
Yep.
So he retreats the bishop to d7. Okay, so that's where black goes on the 18th move. It is now Carissa's 19th move. What does she do in this position?
So she, again, more redeployment. She brings her knight to f1.
Right. Okay.
One thing that does is now it activates this rook, right?
Right. It does.
And she's probably has thoughts of bringing the knight there.
Yes.
Soon.
That looks like a good redeployment.
And it also, it was blocking this bishop previously, so the bishop was opened up.
Okay, so it makes sense to redeploy to the knight f1.
It's a subtle sort of move. I mean,
it's
very positional, right?
Very positional.
It's the sort of thing I think I would say I typically, and a lot of people don't think about bringing pieces backwards.
No.
You're usually thinking about pushing forward and attacking.
Right.
So that's a very subtle.
It is.
Clever move.
So black's move now after knight f1. Well, black decides, you know what? This rook.
Right. Same thing. Right.
Same thing. I want to actually try to activate, make it more active. He brings the rook over to e8. Rook e8 is his move. So now he's attacking that pawn. It's attacked twice,
right.
But of course it's defended twice,
so
right?
it's fine. Yep.
So it's safe. Okay.
Yep.
All right. So now it's Carissa's 20th move. What does she do?
So she plays bishop to d3.
Does she have a threat?
So now she's threatening this pawn twice.
She now has a threat.
And the bishop,
a double attack on the pawn on a6.
Yep.
So how is black going to handle this threat? How does black respond to this?
Right. Well, you might think the obvious thing would be you could just push it.
Yeah, you could.
But that's not what he
No,
did.
that's not what he did. He could have done that.
Yeah.
Okay, but instead, what he did was counterattack with the pawn on c7 going to c5. Now this knight is attacked.
Yep.
Okay, so that knight now has to move. And where does Carissa move that knight on d4? Where does it go?
Goes to f5.
Okay. Now, does white have a threat here? Is there something which is not protected here that she's attacking?
Yep.
Like this?
Yep.
She has a threat of knight attacking the pawn, and this pawn cannot be lost.
Right.
All right. So what black does here is take this bishop, which is blocking the defense of the pawn on d6, and plays the bishop to c6, queen now protects the pawn here.
Right.
But now, do we not have black now attacking this pawn on e4 3 times?
3 times, yep.
Knight, bishop, and rook.
Right.
And it's only defended actually twice.
Twice, yep.
With the bishop and the rook. All right,
Yep.
so now Carissa has to handle defending that pawn on e4.
Right.
How does she do
so
it?
now she does move the knight to g3, so it's a third defender.
Right, the rook,
on
the
the pawn.
knight on the first rank moves to g3.
Yep.
Now it's defended 3 times, attacked 3 times, defended 3 times.
Yep.
Okay. So now black says, you know what? I want to attack that pawn again.
Mm-hmm.
So he plays pawn to d5. Now we have 4 elements attacking that pawn.
Yep.
With the pawn, the bishop, the rook, the knight. Okay, so it's now Carissa's 23rd move. Now, what did she do? What did she do here? Now, she can't. Okay, now.
She could have exchanged.
Okay, but before she exchanges,
Yep.
yeah, she could exchange. Yeah, let's show what a beginner might do. Which a beginner might say, "Oh, my pawn is attacked again. Maybe I should move this pawn to f3 to protect it."
Yeah.
Now, a beginner might do that, thinking, "Okay, now I'm protecting it adequately. I got 4."
Right.
But that would be a blunder.
Right.
Why would that be a blunder? Because black would play
c4.
c4, discovered check,
Right.
and the pawn on c4 is going to win that bishop on d3.
Yep.
But that's what a beginner might do.
Right.
All right.
Yep. Yep.
But an experienced player would never do that. All right. So it's Chris's move. After he played the d5, what did she do? She's not going to defend. She's going to do something else.
She doesn't bother. She plays a very aggressive move.
Yes.
Queen to c1. So now there's 3 attackers on that pawn. So you've got ideas of maybe a sacrifice here.
Yes, right. There's 3, queen, bishop, and knight attacking the pawn on h6, which is only defended once.
Yep.
So what he does is actually he advances the pawn to c4 and attacks the bishop.
Yep.
c4, bishop now under attack. Okay, so what is Carissa going to do? She wants to save the bishop. She's got choices here, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
And probably the better choice actually would have been to just bring it back
Yes.
to here and keep it aimed at the
Yes.
king.
I think even computer analysis
Yeah.
would show that maintaining the bishop along this diagonal was better, but what she played instead was brought it back to f1.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So it's a more defensive move.
more defensive. Yeah,
Yep.
but again, she had better prospects by just retreating it to c2.
Yeah.
All right, so she's on f1. Here is where black now takes the pawn on e4 with the pawn. D
Yeah.
takes e4. Okay. So we have the exchange there. Now, what did Carissa do now in response to this? He took on e4,
Right.
but she cannot take back.
She can't take back.
She cannot take back because that pawn is defended adequately.
Right.
But instead, what does she do on her 25th move? A great move by Carissa.
Very, very aggressive.
Very
It's
aggressive.
a sacrifice. Well, I guess it's not really a sacrifice,
Well,
right?
it's not a sacrifice, but it is a sacrifice if blacks accept it. Let's show our viewers what disaster would befall black if black took that accepted the sacrifice.
Let's remember this position.
Yeah, right, you have to remember the position. The G pawn takes the bishop on h6,
Yep.
and now the queen.
Queen could take back.
And how does one stop mate?
Yeah, so now the threat is
And
checkmate there.
I see no way to stop that mate. Is there any?
Right.
There is
I don't think
There is no defense. Is there?
Momentarily, I suppose. I mean, you could put the knight here to cover that square.
Well, that's true. That's true.
But then
you lose. But then
lose the
the
knight,
queen
yeah.
would just simply the knight. Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, it would lose the piece. Yeah. So anyways, let's put the bishop
there,
here.
yeah.
All right. So she just played bishop takes h6. That bishop is poisoned.
Yeah.
Cannot be taken.
Yeah.
So here is what he does. The only move. In this position.
Yeah. So right now, I mean, there's still lots of threats. I mean,
there's still threats of taking here.
threats
though.
of like you could take here,
Right, or even take
the
actually
bishop.
here. Yeah. So what he does is play knight g4. Now the knight on g4 now is attacking the bishop.
Attacking the bishop and
Yeah. Oh, yes.
attacking here. So now there's two
Oh, wow.
attackers on F2.
So, yes. So there is now the threat there, yes, of after knight G4. So she has to stop this pawn being taken with check with the bishop. So the only move...
She withdraws the bishop back to E3.
All right, so she gained the pawn out of this.
Yep.
All right, and she goes back to bishop E3. Now here is where black in this position, this knight that's on the 6th rank here goes to E5, right?
Yeah.
Knight E5, so we're in here. There's a okay, so we have a possibility, maybe even sinking over here.
In there.
Sinking
Well,
there.
actually, there's a threat, right? It's
There's a threat.
Fork.
Would force the bishop to take back this to avoid the loss of an exchange here. Yeah. So the knight is on E5. It is now Carissa's move. What does she do? It's her 27th move, right?
Yep. So bishop to D4.
Right. Okay. So now the bishop is on D4. Okay, this is, I think, where black is going to go astray. Are we agree with now? It's actually black's 27.
So
what should black have? What should black be doing here in this position?
I think the best move would have been to just kick this.
Play G6.
Yeah.
That forces the knight to retreat. Get that. Bring the knight backwards. Yeah. So, but he didn't do that. He had that move.
Yeah.
He could have done that.
Yeah.
But instead, he's thinking, you know what? I think I want to bring the rook up to E6.
Yeah.
So maybe I can actually bring it over.
To maybe help with the
attack over here.
With an attack, yeah.
With the attack, right. Okay,
but he really needs to be playing defensively.
But actually, he should be actually forcing white, pushing white's pieces back, especially the knight on F5. By G6 would have been a good move. All right, so he plays rook E6. Now, Carissa now plays on her 28th move, H3.
Yeah, this is nice.
It was nice because now she says, I don't want your knight there. I don't want you to even be there.
Yeah, but the thing is now, black doesn't have any really good place to put this knight.
Yeah. So what he does, he brings it back to F6. He's not going to bring it back to here because
that probably would have been the better.
Yeah, he could have done that. But of course, that would not have lost lost material here, lost that pawn, because the knight could take here, right? Could not. If the knight goes back here, don't you see? Actually, we just simply take here, bang, peg back, and the queen takes here.
No, well, the rook is guarding.
Oh, I'm sorry. No, that's right. He could have done that. I take that back. I stand corrected.
So that probably would have been the better.
That would have been better.
But
yes, there's nothing wrong with the rook.
But he still would have been in trouble, I think.
Yeah, but you're right.
Because this queen is coming in.
Yeah.
This queen is going to be coming in here.
Yeah. So that's right. He couldn't. So, but he chose to play knight F6. Brought the knight back to F6. Okay. So that's his move. All right. So it's Carissa's move. It's the 29th move for Carissa.
Yeah.
What is she doing here?
So she's going to take the
bishop.
Knight on bishop takes E5.
Okay. And black only has one reply here. He recaptures the bishop on E5 with the rook.
Yeah.
Rook takes E5. Okay, so that's his move. So how is the material here? I see 5 pawns here.
It's all
so
even.
Materially, it's even, right?
It's even.
Would you now? What's the evaluation? What was the evaluation by if you submitted this to the computer with the?
Well, I think
now it's changed though. No, it's changed.
It's changed, but I think Carissa only has one move to show her advantage, which is what she does.
Oh.
I think any other move would not have been nearly as good. So she plays queen to G5.
The 30th move.
30th move, threatening.
She's threatening mate.
She's threatening
Checkmate.
mate. And black does not have any good answer to this.
Okay, so, right, because actually, no, there is no good answer to this. No, actually, let's show to our viewers, what if black said, okay, wait a minute, I can just block this by playing the pawn up to G6. Hey, this stops the queen taken on G7.
Yeah.
But what is wrong with the pawn moving up the G6 to stop white's checkmate? Well, what you do is you play knight H6, check, and the queen is going to win the exchange. Does not the queen take the rook?
Win the rook. Yeah.
Wins the rook.
Yeah.
Which is more valuable than any minor piece.
Right.
Yeah. So that would mean that. Remember, she's already winning. he's already given up the exchange earlier when he took on F5 with the rook.
No, not yet. Not yet.
Not yet, right? Exactly.
Hasn't given up the exchange yet.
Okay.
It's still even. Right now, it's still even.
Okay.
He's got 2 rooks and 2 rooks.
Yeah, but I'm saying if this move at G6 had been played,
Yeah.
this move check is going to win this.
Right. Yes.
That's right.
Right.
That's right. That's right. He would actually. She would still end up winning the exchange.
Yep.
Right. Okay.
Yep.
All right. But he didn't play that. Instead, he says, you know what? I'm just going to eliminate the threat by just taking rook takes F5. Okay. So rook takes F5, and then she responds with knight takes F5.
So she's now won the exchange.
So she's renewed the threat of checkmate on G7.
Right.
Okay. Now he did respond to this by playing.
Now he plays.
Now he plays G6. Okay. Now he plays here. Okay. And what does Carissa do in response?
Suddenly this bishop comes to life by taking on C4. So now it's another attacker.
And isn't now after bishop takes 2, isn't white's threat is to take queen takes G6 check because of the pin?
The pin, and then it's going to be game over.
Okay. So what was played in the game, because we have the game score which you submitted to me, said to me, he played bishop D5 here to stop this a threat of queen take G6.
Yeah.
But then the game ended.
The game ended, so we don't know if he ran out of time.
Now, this was actually the 32nd move. His last move, bishop d5, was actually the 32nd move. Now, we don't know whether his time ran out.
Right.
Because they were playing, the time limit was game 90 with a 30-second increment. That's what they're doing.
That's quite a bit of time, actually.
So but he might have realized, okay, I'm going to lose the second.
Yeah, I mean, it's also sometimes the player will play a move and then look at it and realize, I'm lost. In any event, at this point, the game ended. She won.
Right. Let's point out, for example, he actually, the game ended here.
Yeah.
We don't know whether the time ran out.
Or he resigned.
Right. Let's point out actually what maybe a beginner, let's show actually a beginner move. It's white's move. No. Let's point out, for example, it's actually white's move here, right? Okay?
Yes.
Okay. Let us say, for example, white said, I'm going to take here now. I'm going to take here. Okay? Okay.
Yeah.
And of course, there's 2 ways to take back. But let's say black, a beginner, would say, I'll just simply take back this way. I'll take back queen takes here.
Right.
Why is that a blunder?
And then Carissa would have a knight fork here.
Knight here, check, wins, and the king has to move with it, and the queen will be lost.
Yep.
Yeah, so that's how a beginner, you could see a beginner play something like that. But of course, an experienced player would never.
But even without that,
we'll the bishop's here and the
bishop here. I mean,
and then we actually have a knight here.
The knight's there, right?
Yeah, even there, because here's what would happen.
Carissa could have just exchanged and then
take here.
She takes back with the knight. She could just.
Yeah,
I mean, she could continue attacking the king with the knight, or she could just even exchange, right? Just exchange and then win a pawn.
Win a pawn.
So now
she's
up 2 pawns.
She's up 2 pawns.
And the exchange.
And that's sufficient to win. So that's why.
Well, I guess this wouldn't have worked here. Now they look because the knight's under attack, but.
Okay.
But still.
Oh no, but again, the knight could go back and attack.
Yeah, but sure, we could just
go back and force this pawn, this actually to be defended like that.
In any event.
Oh yeah, and look at this. This is attacked here, and this is attacked here. No.
Yeah.
This end game would be lost. There's no way that black could save this game.
So it wouldn't surprise me if he actually resigned at this point.
No, I think I have a feeling that he resigned here.
Yeah.
This was not decided by a time forfeit. Yeah.
I doubt it. Yeah.
Right. Exactly. So
typically, the players don't move; they just decide, I'm lost. But it's every now and then it happens. The player moves and then realizes, it's not even worth continuing. Right. They don't even wait for the opponent to move. But.
Exactly. Yeah. So as I say, Carissa, we're very proud of Carissa. I mean, again, I always say that when people ask about her, she's known around the world. People in the world of chess know her. Yeah. And the fact that she and I want to refresh our Chess Chat viewers' memories, that the fact that she, at the age of 10, was able to score, had a perfect score, 7 wins. That's phenomenal. And again, she was the first female ever to win the Wachusett Chess Club Champion. And I don't think we'll ever see that again. I don't think we'll ever see a female.
Well,
Yeah.
maybe that, but at that age, at the age of 10, I mean,
Exactly.
of course, we do have another prodigy
Oh, yes.
up and coming
And
now.
I would like to actually, our prodigy, who you're talking about is Sean Shu.
Yep.
10 years, he's 10 years old right now.
Yep.
He is actually among scholastic players in Massachusetts, and we
Yep.
have lots of them, hundreds and hundreds.
Yep.
For a 10-year-old, he's an expert, national expert,
Yep.
which is phenomenal for a 10-year-old to have a reading over 2,000 as he does. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And as I say, I would like to have him on the show. This in 2024.
I mean, he could easily win the championship this coming
Well,
year.
I'm predicting that Sean Shu is the favorite to win the club championship. Yeah. Now he came in second.
Right.
Now he actually lost an opportunity to tie for the championship last year because he offered me a draw in our game, in our championship game.
The final round game, right?
Yeah, and I accepted the draw. I said, okay, hey, I didn't want to battle out for another hour or so, so I accepted the draw. But that draw cost him a tie for the club championship because Ray Paulson, we did a program about Ray, the last program, won the club championship by a half a point.
Yeah.
It was a half point difference, but that spelled the difference.
Yep.
But Sean has just won the previous tournament. We just had a tournament actually. It was the Reggie Boone.
Yep.
Yeah,
Memorial,
Reggie Boone.
yep.
He won. No, I said Mike Urbonis won that. I take it back.
Oh, right. Yeah, that's right. That's
Mike
right.
Urbonis, who lives in
Yes.
Acton, won upset Sean.
That's right. He's on a roll.
Yeah, he's on a roll. Mike Urbonis, who's a long-time chess player.
That's right. And he beat Rob King as well. and of
Yes,
course,
a national master,
Yeah.
Rob King, and also beat Sean. So Mike Urbonis, a shout out to Mike
absolutely,
Urbonis,
yep.
who won the Reggie Boone tournament, just finished 2 weeks ago.
Yep.
And we have a new tournament. Our new tournament is the George E. O'Rourke Memorial, honoring a longtime Wachusett Chess Club member, George O'Rourke from Concord. Used to come every week from Concord to play, and we honor him. And his son, Larry O'Rourke, plays every week at the club. Yep. So, but Sean, I predict, has to be the favorite to win the 2024 club championship.
Yep.
And he has a sister. He has a twin sister who's 10 years old. They come, and they're coming actually from a greater distance. They're coming from Lexington, so that's quite a trip for them every Wednesday night along Route 2.
Yeah.
What slows them down is when they get to the 2 and 12 intersection. When they get off of Route 2, it takes a little while to get from the intersection of Route 2 and 12 to Fitchburg State University. But they love doing
I just saw the mayor was in here, so maybe we should talk to the mayor about the traffic issues.
Well, if the mayor wants to come in and we'll talk about actually chess, because I've known the mayor since she was a little teeny bopper. Yeah. Remember, our mayor Sam Squalia actually used to play chess at the Crocker Elementary School back, must have been in the 1990s. Yeah, when she was in the 5th grade. The Crocker Elementary School, and of course they're now building a new Crocker Elementary School in Fitchburg, but at the old Crocker Elementary School, our mayor, Sam Squalia, actually played along with others, pupils, students, because Mike Burke was the physical education teacher at Crocker Elementary School, and I'm hopeful that when the Crocker Elementary School is completed, that they will name the gymnasium after Mike Burke. Mike Burke did so much for Crocker Elementary School as the physical education teacher, and he had the kids learn chess. And
Really?
Chess was part of the curriculum. He used to run Monday night tournaments. There were actually chess tournaments at Crocker Elementary Schools, and he signed these kids up as members of the United States Chess Federation.
Really?
A lot of them didn't know that they actually were enrolled as members of the United States Chess Federation, but Michael Burke, did that. He was a great believer in that besides physical activity, you got to keep the mind active. And he made sure that the kids at Crocker Elementary School were kept active, with their minds, keeping them very busy. So I'm hopeful that the school committee, the Fitchburg School Committee, will have the wisdom to to put the name, Michael Burke, as the name of the gymnasium at the new Crocker Elementary School. I'm hopeful, and I hope that actually we have Chess Chat viewers living in Fitchburg who would encourage members of the school committee to support that idea. I think that's a great idea. But again, our mayor actually was a member of the U.S. Chess Federation when she was in the 5th grade at Crocker Elementary School. And again, she's very supportive of chess. In fact, she had, weren't we both? We were both on her show inside Fitchburg. Sometime it was the last year, right? Again. So our mayor actually is a chess player, and we appreciate her support of chess. Now, I want to get back to your trip with a few minutes we have remaining.
Sure. Yeah.
You actually, when you played in Georgia, but you also played was it in Carolina, was it when you played? What other states? The
previous one was in Florida.
You played in Florida.
Jeff Lepore and I both played.
Okay, Jeff Lepore, who was a former Wachusett Chess Club champion, who grew up in Ashby, won the club championship years ago, but you actually joined him in Tampa, Florida, and played there, Now, where else have you played now, other states? You go to New York. Wait a minute, you and Mike Camiso.
Went to New York, that was a few years back. It was pre-COVID, definitely.
Right. All right, it was pre-COVID. You played.
That was actually a pretty successful tournament because we had to play each other in the last round, I think.
Okay, that was in New York,
And, and Mike and I both played together in Maine.
You played in Maine?
Maine. I'd probably give them the award for the friendliest tournament. The director was a very friendly, welcoming guy.
Now, your roots, you told me your roots are, you grew up in Chicopee? Okay. Now, it so happens that today, I talk about history, chess history, today happens to be the anniversary, the anniversary of the birth of a player you knew who was probably the strongest chess player in Western Massachusetts, named David Lees.
Oh, so today is his
birthday. He was born on February 12th, 1943.
Okay.
He died at the age of 58. No, it was actually 50. He died at the age of 1996. He died. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. It was in July, but today is his birthday.
Will be his 80th.
Now,
birthday,
David
right?
Lees was probably the strongest chess player we ever saw in Western Mass. He won the U.S. Armed Forces Championship in 1965. I think it was 65. In that same year that he won the Armed Forces Championship in Washington, D.C., he was the co-champion in Texas. He tied for first place in the Texas State Championship with a fellow that is known in the chess world as a chess author, Ken Smith.
Yes.
You know this. You know the Smith-Mora gambit in the French Civilian. A part of that gambit is named after him. The Smith-Mora gambit is named after Ken Smith. Well, David Lees, whose birthday is today, he would have turned 81 years old if he had not died.
81. That's right. Yeah.
He would have turned 81 today, tied with Ken Smith in the Texas State Championship.
Wow.
And he's a multi-time champion of Western Mass. He's done it 5 times. He also was the very first winner of the first Central New England Open held in Fitchburg in 1961.
I didn't know that.
That tournament was a 16-player event. I remember it because I played in it. It was held at the VFW building on Pleasant Street in Fitchburg. And David Lees won that.
I didn't realize that.
In 1961.
Nice.
And the Wachusett Chess Club sponsored that event, 63 years ago in Fitchburg. So David Lees was a winner there. And again, I've known David many, many years, and played him once back in the Tanglewood Open in Great Barrington, Vermont, Great Barrington, Mass. The Tanglewood Open. Okay, well, I see that our credits are rolling. And we hope to see our Chess Chat viewers for the next edition of Chess Chat. Stay tuned because we have a very interesting program to present to you.